Just because you see an NPK ratio on a bottle, it does not mean it's fully available to the plant, especially in the organic world. The difference of the Nectar line is the bioactivity, is the bioavailability, is the fact that it's pre-digested for the plant to absorb. And this is one of those products that truly is the catalyst that allows that statement to go above and beyond what would be normally seen in the natural world, but done so all naturally, just using a unique element that's different from everything else that Monster Garden sells. Thank you for taking the time to watch one of our videos today. What we want to show you is a very cool product. Now, you might have seen this product spotlighted in our Nectar for the Gods videos. We did 2 Nectar for the Gods videos, one with the base nutrient, one with the supplements, with the owner, Scott from Nectar for the Gods, where we broke down each individual product. But the product that was most important for us to spotlight, that did get spotlighted in that video, but really needs its own video, is the Bloom Khaos. The Bloom Khaos comes in multiple sizes. We have the 2.5, we have the gallon, and of course the quart. And what it shows on the Nectar for the Gods feed chart is that you only foliar spray it and use it the week before your flush week, done so root feeding. Now, what we want to tell you is that if you're not using the Bloom Khaos, you're not seeing the true potential of the Nectar for the Gods nutrients. Now, Monster Gardens has really centered behind Nectar for the Gods as their preferred organic nutrient line for a number of reasons, all stated in the 2 Nectar videos that we produced. Really having the full potential, the full health load of the plant, and seeing its natural characteristics done so at its highest level is the beauty of organics versus synthetics. But there's some components you can add to those organics that's going to give you the synthetic yield, and the Bloom Khaos is one of those products. So what we'd like to talk to you a little bit about today is the Bloom Khaos, some things to know, some things that you really should maybe try out. And if you're currently using the product, we might give you some uses of the product that you're currently not using, which will achieve a much greater yield. Monster Gardens would love to see gardeners from all over the country that are using systems that are favorable to being able to use organics to try the organic world. With organic nutrients, as long as you're using the recommended dosage from the manufacturer, you'll actually have a greater buffer than synthetics to have problems such as lockout or have a nutrient burn. Because with organics, you're making the nutrient line available to the plant through the use of biology and not through the use of salt as you would in synthetics. So you're feeding the soil, you're bringing health to the soil, you're bringing health to the root zone, you're allowing the plant to eat the food as it would naturally versus force feeding the plant with salt as you do with synthetics. And we've seen gardeners all over the country, due to the health benefits, due to the quality benefits, and now due to certain components that allow them the yield benefits, to run organics versus synthetics. So the Bloom Khaos is a calcium facilitator. Now, what does that mean? It's a calcium facilitator. That means that it literally allows the plant to absorb calcium at a much greater rate. And when we mean a much greater rate, we mean a significantly higher rate than even done in the synthetic world. Now, what we've been told by the manufacturer, and we've definitely had our gardeners see this, is the Bloom Khaos will allow the plant to absorb calcium 4 to 5 times the rate that it would normally absorb. Now, why is that important for a gardener to know? Why does a plant need to absorb calcium really fast, and why would it be doing that? It's a great question. So when the plant is splitting molecules, when its cell division is happening, the number one ingredient the plant's utilizing in order to create the cell division is calcium. Calcium, in essence, is the ability for the plant to divide cells. What is dividing cells? It's the plant growing. And if you allow the plant to divide those cells much faster at a much faster rate, and you're supplementing the product properly with the calcium, you will see amazing growth. And done so naturally. You won't see fingering or steroidal effects that you would see with a tricontinol or a lot of other flower stimulators, maybe PK boosters or things that you would use. You would see swelling, you would see vigorous growth, all done so naturally in the plant. And the Bloom Khaos is an all-natural product. It has all natural ingredients. There is nothing synthetic in this bottle. You are essentially giving it ability to absorb calcium and to utilize that calcium at a rate that is significantly higher than any organic nutrient line that we have on the market and synthetics. But what does that tell you? That tells you that you need to be properly supplementing calcium. If you're using the Monster Gardens Cocoa Connoisseur or the Cocoa Force, you have 2 pounds of bone meal in each bag. So there's tons of calcium right out of the gate, but if you're going to use the Bloom Khaos at its maximum potential, you still need to be supplementing calcium. Now, calcium nitrate, a Cali Magic from General Hydroponics, Botanica Cal Mag Plus, they are not the proper form of calcium for the plant to be able to absorb it at the rate that this product's going to make that happen. So when you are looking at a calcium nitrate, you're seeing an inferior product to a calcium phosphate. Now, the calcium phosphates are much more expensive to produce, but they also have a great relationship with the plant. The plant has the ability to absorb it. There's no form of nitrogen that's involved, so you can use it all the way to the end of flower. You can use it for your flush and not see any negative effects. The CalMag Plus, or the Cali Magic from General Hydroponics, the truth is, the reason why they want you to cut those off in the later stages of flower is so the nitrogen doesn't have a negative effect with the plant's flowering process in later stages. With the calcium phosphate, you're never going to have that issue because there is no nitrogen. A calcium carbonate and a calcium nitrate will not properly support the Bloom Khaos. They are very inexpensive forms of calcium. Some of the ingredients can't even be broken down. And the truth is, if you want the plant to have the properly supported form of calcium, you're going to want a calcium phosphate. The products inside the Nectar line that are the calcium phosphates, well, the number one is Herculean Harvest. I mean, it's made from bone meals, great form of calcium. The plant can absorb this very easily because it's biologically digested. Another product is the Demeter's Destiny. Demeter's Destiny, it says right on it, liquid calcium. This also has magnesium in it as well, but this is a calcium product. Now that's another question. Why do they not have a calcium magnesium and they just have a calcium? Truth is, there's tons of magnesium in the soil blends already. Calcium nitrate does need a magnesium to be added to it, but a calcium phosphate doesn't necessarily need that, especially in all the soil blends Monster Gardens carries. There's tons of magnesium in there. Because you're using calcium phosphate, you do not need to supplement magnesium as much. Yeah, with a calcium phosphate, the plant's going to naturally absorb the magnesium in the soil anyways. With a calcium nitrate, not so much, and that's why they add magnesium to calcium nitrate products, which again, we see at Monster Gardens as being inferior to calcium phosphate. So the Demeter's Destiny, the Herculean Harvest are both going to provide you those. There's also some calcium in the base nutrient, so both the Gaia Mania and the Medusa Magic have calcium as well. But if you are going to use the Bloom Khaos at its maximum potential, this is the product you want to go hand in hand with it, the Herculean Harvest, because this is the highest form of calcium. You can also use the Demeter's Destiny as well, but the Herculean Harvest is the true form of calcium that's going to properly support the Bloom Khaos when used at the recommended dosage and above the recommended dosage, which we'll get at. When you look at the feed chart for Nectar of the Gods, what you see is to foliar feed this product all the way from veg to maybe week 3 or 4 of flower. Even if you go in later stages of flower and you're spraying the plants, you have an atomizer or something of the sort, just spray the bottom sides of the plants. You don't need to spray the top flower sites if you're later stages of flower, if you're concerned over getting the flower sites wet. The bottom halves of the plant, just spraying those bottom halves of the leaves is going to get the product into the plant. But you can use this all the way to week 3 or 4 of flower as a foliar. But when you go past that and you don't feel comfortable foliar feeding anymore, then that's the beauty of this product that's not on the feeding chart. This product can be used at 1 teaspoon to 1 tablespoon per gallon fed at the root zone when you're foliar feeding and past that stage of foliar feeding. The plant isn't going to get too much of this in essence as long as it's properly supported with a calcium product. So what Scott has been telling a lot of gardeners over the phone, but not necessarily on the feed chart, and he's told us here at the store, which we've told our local customers, is to try feeding this at the root zone, all the way from veg to the end of flower. Whether it's 1 teaspoon or 1 tablespoon, you can find that special number that works for you, but know that you want to properly support it with the liquid bone meal. Now, a gardener might be asking themselves, they're just trying to sell me one more product. That's not the truth. The truth is, there is not one product that Monster Gardens carries that has the calcium facilitator in it that this bottle does. We carry 27 different nutrient lines. This is the most unique bottle on that shelf. Truth is, it is. Because as we see some of these other products, they're also very unique as well, but this has that magic ingredient. So if you watch this video and you're like, I want to add that to my current recipe, just know this. Calcium nitrate, CalMag Plus from Botanicare is not going to be properly supporting this product. You need to have a calcium phosphate, a true form of calcium, feeding at the same time. So we've had gardeners here at the store try a teaspoon per gallon. What we recommend with that is that you up your Herculean Harvest, if you're going to do that every feeding, about 20 to 30% that we're currently feeding off the feed chart. And if you're going to go to 1 tablespoon, we ask that you add an entire tablespoon more to the regimen of the Herculean Harvest than you are currently using off the feed chart. Now, you are using more liquids, but what are you getting? You're getting a plant that's going to do things that you've not seen before, especially if you've only grown organically. This, again, is one of the most unique organic lines, and once you use this component, you're going to see your plants turbocharge, but make sure that you properly support it with the calcium. So if you're in the flowering stage, your plant's going to produce flowers at a much greater rate. So you're going to see your flower sites swell. You're going to see more flower sites. In the vegetative stage, you'll see more branching. You'll see faster growth. But again, what you need to know is you're going to properly support it with a calcium product. So say you ran out of the Herculean Harvest. Maybe not feed this until you get another bottle of Herculean Harvest, because again, the plant's going to be growing at such a fast rate, it's going to be cell dividing at such a fast rate that it will not be able to keep up with the amount of calcium it's using. So you definitely need to use this. Now, if you're using a tablespoon and you're not feeding the Herculean Harvest at an increased rate from the feeding chart, what you'll see is micronutrient deficiency. Some gardeners say, my plants have lockout. Well, you know, lockout's a pretty generalized term, but let's just say that it has a micronutrient deficiency, and guess what micronutrient that is? Calcium. So you definitely need to have the calcium properly supported. If you're using this in a foliar spray, even with another recipe, we recommend you still add a calcium phosphate. And to be honest, if you're a true gardener that's trying to get the best potential out of your plant, you should be using a calcium phosphate. A lot of soils are going to have some of that in the soil blends already. The soils that we manufactured specifically have an amazing amount of it right out of the gate. But let's just imagine a couple weeks into your vegetative stage, if you're foliar spraying this, you need to go right into starting to use a liquid supplement as well. But you will also see growth, and you also see flowering that you have not seen with your plants before. And you will see flower sizes that you saw in your synthetic world, possibly, if you were doing that using flower stimulators. But you're going to see natural characteristics with that same size flower you were never able to get with the synthetic world. And then the second part, it's healthy to you. When you work with the nutrients, they're all natural. There's no heavy metals. There's no PGRs. When you're spraying them, you don't have to use respirators because, again, there's nothing harmful in this product. So you can get the same yield, sometimes even better than some synthetic lines, but you're going to do it at a health benefit to you, at a health benefit to the plant, and at the end of the day, you're going to produce product that's better than you've seen before, that's larger than you've seen before, and done so all naturally. Supporting a great company as well. What is in the Bloom Khaos other than a calcium facilitator? Well, there is sea kelp in here. There's actually a sea kelp extract in here. That's going to help with branching, root growth. It's going to have some drobilic acid that's going to allow the plant to kind of speed up its rate of CO2 conversion. Some of the extracts that are used in this bottle, there's a phytohormone that's all natural that's going to boost the plant's immune system. So those guys that tend to spray for powder mold or bugs, it's not going to be the magic bullet product that's going to eliminate that for you, but it's definitely going to help boost the plant's immune system as a preventative to not have those problems later on. We have a lot of gardeners that feed this at the root zone and foliar sprayed at the very same time. We foliar sprayed this product with Azamax, with Actinovate together, and a wetting agent, and have never seen odd effects, have never seen any burning, done it with the lights on. Not as favorable. If you're going to do that, definitely know that your spray is drying up pretty much as fast as you're spraying it. So spraying with the lights off is more favorable because it gives the plant the ability to absorb the liquid because it doesn't happen immediately. But we've used this product with Easy Wet, we've used this product with Actinovate, with Monterey Garden Spray, with Azamax. So if you are somebody that does those preventative sprays, as you're supposed to, as a serious gardener running a business, preventing those pests, preventing those molds, preventing basically a problem with your business, this is a product that can go hand in hand with that. So if you're a guy that's spraying Azamax on a regular basis in the beginning of veg, the beginning of flower to keep from getting bugs, or Actinovate, or another product, but you might want to check with us first before you mix it with this, know this. You add this, you're adding a major health benefit to the plant. You're adding the boost to the plant's immune system, the ability for more branching, the calcium facilitator that's going to increase the rate of growth significantly, done so all naturally. So you can get those preventative sprays done and still give that health benefit to the plant all in one. The foliar spraying is obviously the most inexpensive way to get it into the plant, get it into the plant fast. It's just if you want to get that later stage of flower, you want to see what the product can really do to the plant, that's going to be fed at the root zone past the point of being able to foliar spray into flower. But foliar spraying is obviously the key use of the product. We recommend this as the first use of the product. The root zone application is truly for those gardeners that are more advanced or want their garden to become more advanced. So if you're growing in Mopito, if you're growing in Grodan, if you're growing in expanded clay DWC system, know this. The Bloom Khaos needs that calcium phosphate when it's used at its max potential. But if you would like to use this product, you have one of those systems, and you can't use a calcium phosphate, use a calcium nitrate because it's a thin running solution that you can put into your system, know this. You can still use the Bloom Khaos at the lowest dosage on the initial flower set or trigger flowering your plants. So the first couple weeks of flower, you can still use the Bloom Khaos, just use it at the lower recommended dosages, and you don't need to be concerned as much about supplementing with the calcium phosphate. Now, for those guys that want to experiment with it, and you might have like an ebb and flow system, which just, ebb and flow systems, you're running through a 1/2 inch or a 3/4 inch tubing, the pump's not gonna muck up that fast. You can feasibly still use Demeter's Destiny, which is much thinner running than the Herculean Harvest, and you could feasibly still get an amazing potential of these two products together ran in a flood table. Now, if you're in a drip system or a water sitting DWC system, again, you're just going to use the lowest recommendation. You're not going to add a calcium phosphate just to see what the product can do. But if you're a rock wool guy, or if you're a cocoa guy with flood tables, of course you can do this. But if you're a rock wool guy and you're using a flood tables, you could still use the Demeter's Destiny. You would just properly dissolve it in the reservoir. You can use the Bloom Khaos at the root zone and as a foliar spray. Calcium is much more important than NPK because it allows the plant to absorb the NPK, but a wider range of micronutrients, really all the elements the plant needs in order to grow. Now, the beauty of the Nectar line is finally, people can grow in soil, grow in cocoa, get the yields they can synthetically, sometimes even above that, but done so all naturally to the plant, to you, and getting a quality out of the plant that they could never get out of the synthetic world. So if you're a grower at home, you're watching this video, you're thinking about using cocoa, you're thinking about using soil because your buddy does it, you maybe use rock wool or something different, much more critical for pH, temperature, ppm or EC, and you want to use something that's slightly more forgiving with its buffering, but you have the experience to be able to read the plant, this is the line for you.